To kick things off, again, my name is Raleigh Wallace. I'm the Career Service Manager. I'm based in the Brisbane campus. I've been with Endeavour for 6 years, and my focus has really been to try and create material for students so they can really focus on their career goals. So I have a background. I've been working in the career space for about, it's pretty scary now, about 12 years. So I've had a lot of interaction with students, not only at Endeavour. I used to head up the career service at a university as well. So what I can say is that the transition into employment tips that you get, that students at Endeavour, while it's a niche industry, they are common for other industries as well. So, but I look forward to engaging with you tonight. I'll pass you over to my colleague Sophie, who'll just give you a quick roundup of her career today.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I am the Careers Advisor. I'm based in Melbourne, but I'm happy to chat with anyone over all the campuses. I have a background, I studied naturopathy and was in clinical practice, so I have a health background. And I'm really looking forward to working with everyone to make sure that they transition into their chosen careers really smoothly and with Endeavour's support. So yeah, I look forward to meeting you all online and maybe even in person.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sophie. So we'll get straight into it now. As you know, we've got students from first year to final years and just graduating students. So we'll just see if we can get a nice mix of information to give to you that's relevant to you all. So Sophie, could you just flip through to the first?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we're going to cover tonight, this is very relevant for probably earlier students, the Career Planner tool, but the resources available for all students. We're going to touch on networking, marketing, the hidden job market, raising your profile, work experience, internships, and mentoring. So they're the things that we're going to focus on. We'll go to the next one, please. So I guess for newer students at Endeavour, this is what the career service offer. So to Sophie's point, if you're located on Perth, Adelaide, Gold Coast, or different campuses, I'm in Brisbane, Sophie's in Melbourne, you can see us face to face. But if you're located on the other campuses, you're still able to contact the career service. So you can do that by just emailing us. The details are there, or going to the career service website to find out what's happening, what resources there are to access. So what we do, we offer year-round student events, also the webinar program, similar to what we're doing tonight. We try and mix up some very topical issues that are hot topics within industry, but then also business development webinars for you as well to assist with your marketing, again, networking, building referral networks. So quite a vast range of topics we try to cover. Most importantly, we help students to find their career path. Like, we can give advice. Ideally, it's up to yourself to identify what motivated you to initially start studying at Endeavour. And then if you're not sure where you're heading with your degree, that's where you can have a conversation with the career service, because we're all about helping you identify your career goal. Because once I know where your career goal and where you're heading, and believe me, it can change and as you go through your studies. But if you've got an initial career goal of what you're trying to achieve and where you're trying to go, that can assist you with your studies, but also assist you with what else you should be doing while you're studying. And also for the final year students, I mean, even though there's some students about to finish, who are with us tonight, it's still not too late to, if you don't have a career goal or you know where you're going, to identify it, because that can really pinpoint what you need to be doing in the next 3-4 months as you transition into employment. We've got an industry jobs board available to students, and with the job application advice, that's a lot of the resources which will, I might just go to the career service website now to give you an idea of where to find things. On the left-hand side, you've got employment preparation. We'll just go in there for a moment. So it clearly in there lists what we do. So on-campus Skype sessions.
Sorry.
You're all right. The webinar program that I've mentioned, on-campus career activities, and then the jobs board. But it just clearly identifies what you do and where you can go for assistance. Also, the Career Service has developed its very own career planner, which is extremely important for all students, and it's still, again, for students who are just about to graduate, because it really targets what you need to be doing. Sophie, could you we'll just go into the career planner while we're here. If you just select that link. So there's just, across the top, you've got your introductions, your values, your perfect future day. So this is a values activity. You just go through and select from a list that's already provided, or you can write your own, what your values are. Because once you know what your values are, when you're seeking employment, the first thing I do is say, if you want to work at a clinic, do their values align with yours? Or no matter what you're doing, it's very important to know what your values are, I find anyway. So that's a quick values activity. Then we move on to the My Perfect Future Day activity. This essentially is the goals activity, to really identify what your career goal is. So we go from a very generic question, what is your perfect future day? And that could be in 5 years, 10 years time, or you can use it might be 2 years time how you want to do it. And if you know what your perfect future day looks like, and it could be for a comp med students, what they're looking to achieve from their degree, or nutrition or naturopathy, then you work back. So if you know what your future day is, your perfect future day is, then you extract from that your career goals that can assist you to actually achieve that vision. Now we're on to the SWOT analysis. So that's just it's very relevant for students who are more progressed in their degree, potentially starting their own business or looking to market themselves. Even if you're starting within an existing clinic, it's good to know your strengths, weaknesses, and the opportunities and threats that exist for when you actually take on that opportunity. So you've most likely done that as part of your SOCI 311 class for those students that are progressed in their degrees. And then if we go to the last one, employability edge. This is most important because this is actually the tasks you need to be completing. So you know your values, you know your goal, you've done a SWOT analysis, so you might know there's some gaps that you need to improve on in your own for yourself, or there's might be some threats that you know exist if you're going to launch a business in a certain area. So this is where you can actually identify what tasks you need to do to complete while you're studying. So there's a list there of Sophie and I have connected with graduates previously that have identified, well, these are the tasks that they believe that students should be doing. So it's just a matter of you going through the list, adding them, and you can add a date of when you need to complete them by. So most importantly, once you've completed that list, I'm talking very quickly, and I totally recommend you to actually go through this process, is Sophie just hit the Create Career Plan button. And from that, in one little snapshot, you've got all the information you've just entered. It's got your actions that you need to complete and all the other areas. So it's just a really relevant document. I'd recommend for you to print it out, put it somewhere that you see, that you walk past or view regularly, so you can actually, when you do get to your holidays or a certain downtime, and I know it's busy, but we really need you to focus on your career because you're getting an amazing education, but education can only get you so far. You do really need to plan for that transition to employment, which I know I'm talking quite a bit, and that's what's going to happen tonight, which is a perfect segue into the remainder of the presentation. So I guess what I didn't touch on with the careers website, there's some amazing resources there for you just to access, whether they're video recordings of our webinars that we've presented, such as tonight's webinar. It will be hosted there, but just other how to construct your resume, etc. So if you haven't been on there previously, please access it. Okay, so yep.
All right. So while you're studying, sometimes things don't seem so relevant to what maybe your end goal is going to be. But it's really important that you realize it's vital to absorb all the information you're gaining, even in first year, because it is all building blocks. And you'll realize as you go along, oh, I learned that thing in first year, and that builds on to the next thing. So it's really important to be present while you're learning. Another tip is to take advantage of any tutoring or study groups that Endeavour might be offering, or even creating study groups with a group of people in your class just to cement that learning. Another really good realization is that it does take 10 years of full-time experience to become a master at something. And so that means you can't expect yourself to be an expert. It will come with time. So there's often a discussion about practitioners and how practitioners really need to look after themselves to be able to be the best practitioner for their patients. But it's the same thing for students. So making sure you look after yourself while you're a student. If you're on the Melbourne campus, there's a great meditation room available where you can pop in and have some quiet time. There's lots of research to show that meditation and exercise can really support productivity and learning. So just being aware of your personal well-being while you're studying.
Fantastic. We've just had a couple of questions in regarding the resources from what I mentioned previously. So if you are a graduating student, there is like if you're looking to access the library resources, there is an amount of time that is still available to you when you're a graduate. I would recommend that you connect with the library just to find out what that timeline is. Regarding the careers resources on our website, they're accessible totally to you in the future. The career planner, I just have to look because it is your student password, so I'd have to investigate further if you needed to access it in the future, but please contact us if you do need it. Okay, so the next slide, we're engaging in work experience. So I get the most important thing here is what work experience is relevant to you, or what's going to give you the best advantage of when you graduate. So you really need to have already completed your career goal activity, because if you know, you're going to be a practitioner, great. What type of practitioner? Where are you going to practice? Who are you going to practice with? All those, as you answer those questions, they can all assist you in working out what type of work experience you need. If you want to work in industry, what industry connections are you able to make while you're studying? The Career Services just started a few internships this year with Biomedica and Metagenics. But yeah, it's important to identify what work experience is available, connect with the Career Service to see if we've got contacts within industry, if there's something that you're looking to get exposure in. But also, if you do get exposure to work experience, you are setting yourself up hopefully for a possible future employment opportunity. So you need to make that first great example of yourself to say, well, this is who I am, this is how professional I am. So even the initial phone call or the email, even if you think it might come to fruition, you have to think that there's a potential that it would. So you have to always give the best demonstration of yourself. Work experience is a great way, even if it's working in a health food store, which some of our students do, that can lead to increasing your knowledge in products, get you used to handling customer inquiries, but that can also lead to different job opportunities as well. So I guess keep your mind open and really focus on what work experience is relevant to you. Okay, Sophie?
And I guess that's a really good lead up to the networking slide. And you need to remember that networking starts while you're at the college, because the people you're surrounded with at the moment, they're going to be your colleagues one day. So networking is really growing your contacts in the industry. So it doesn't mean going to a conference or a workshop and introducing yourself to 100 people, but it's making connections that might be valuable now or might be valuable in the future. It's also a two-way street. So it's not just what can that person do for you, but it's what can you do for that person. That's often when you get the best networking experience. When you're kind of in networking situations, it's really important to remember, be present. So make eye contact, ask questions, And if you suggest meeting up, then follow up with that. So the next day, maybe send them a message. A really good way to start networking while you're at uni is going to professional association events. So as a student, you can sign up to most professional associations for free. So it's a bit of try before you buy. They've got lots of events all over the country, lots of people going to those conferences. We also had a webinar. Oh, sorry, Riley.
And on the careers website, we've got links to the different professional associations. So if you're not sure what's relevant for you, we've got video introductions to all the different professional associations that you could be interested in joining.
That's right. We also had a really interesting webinar the other night with 2 graduates who were talking about their networking via LinkedIn. So if you're interested in that, there's some great tips from that. That's up on the website already, so you can find that under our webinars. There's also a networking document which is on the Careers Service website.
So I guess in the networking side of things, for me, this is the most important thing, whether you're a first year student, a final year student. Your success to have a successful transition to employment is really based on networking. So we really need to be on the front foot in the networking department. So if you think about, if you're a final year student and you want to work in a clinic, what clinic do you want to work for? So for me, I'd be identifying the geographical zone, going back, looking at my goals and trying to find what clinics exist in a certain area, then start networking with 10 of them. So at that point, we're actually networking, trying to identify an employment opportunity. If you're a first year student or a second year student, the same principle applies. Like if you kind of know where you're going, start connecting similarly to clinics, etc., to see if there's any opportunities for you to work with them while you're a student, like more so probably, I guess, in the reception area, which takes you back a bit. But by doing that, you actually learn how that clinic would operate and whether that's an interest for you. But yeah, and then also with the different industry jobs, what jobs are available at the moment in your area? So then by identifying those, then you can actually start that networking process. When you go to the professional development events that Sophie mentioned, you don't go there just to listen to information. What are you trying to gain from it? So you need to have 3 key objectives: meet the person, get the details, and find out what their role is. And then when you follow up with them, hi, this is Raleigh. It was great meeting you the other night. I understand you're involved in the new product development line at XYZ company. This is something I could be interested in the future. Do you mind if I catch up and find out more about the role? I mean, again, if you're not a person who's used to continually contacting people, unfortunately, it is something that will assist you with your successful transition. So we just need to, the more you practice, the more you get, the better you get at it.
Absolutely. And it's good to remember that it pushes everybody out of their comfort zone. It's not just you feeling slightly uncomfortable. It's just practice. It's something that people get good at.
Yeah. So with the networking side of things, you also need to think about who your networks are, and don't always, like we've gravitated tonight, or I've gravitated to the professional ones. You need to think about who in your own personal network could assist you. So as you're traveling through your degree, as long as people know what you're studying, that's fantastic. But when you're getting near the end of your degree, you need to tell your family, your friends that, I'm almost finished, I'm graduating, I'm going to be looking for employment soon. You don't have to sell yourself, you don't have to do more than that. But it's surprising how many times I've heard from students who are actually out there working, when I go back to, how did you get your first opportunity? It was through a connection that I already had. So you just need to get a mud map out and start drawing who your connections are. Don't discount anybody. Sure, there's some people that you're not going to go up and talk to about it, and that's fine, we know. But you just need to identify who your networks are and just very openly talk about where you are in your career. Okay, self-marketing. So I guess it's important, no matter who you meet, you actually do, and we've already touched on this, that you come across professional and presentable. So the first step, if you're going to, if you're at the stage of applying to work at a clinic, you need to have your resume up to date, have a cover letter ready to go that you can adapt depending on who you're dropping into. With the resume, it's a self-marketing tool. There's no point getting the resume template off the Career Service website, filling your name in and handing it in. They need to get a sense of who you are. So make sure it does represent exactly that. And very important, Sophie mentioned LinkedIn. I understand as students you might not have a LinkedIn account because it's more for the working side of things, but I know I've got, every week I'll be connected by some students who are already on LinkedIn. So I guess if you haven't got a LinkedIn account, it's just about creating it very simply, and even if you put down that you're a student, then you can start following different networks within the LinkedIn environment. And most importantly with Facebook, make sure only the professional side of you can be seen by people, because the first thing people do is, employers will do when they actually get your resume, they'll jump online and have a look at Facebook or just Google you in general. So yeah, and I guess once you start that self-marketing thing, side of things, is what can you do while you're a student that actually builds your portfolio or builds your profile. So as part of that, that can be just finding a practitioner or a graduate from Endeavour to see if they're actually presenting on certain topics that you could go along and assist with. It's just about thinking cleverly about what you want to be doing in the future, who's doing it now, how can you network with them, and if you can actually assist them, then you can start building your profile, which you can add to your resume, and again, helps your self-marketing. I think that's it for me there, Sophie.
All right, now we've kind of touched on a lot of this already with the career planner, but we've found what graduates have said to us, that writing a vision statement similar to what you do in the career planner has been really motivating for them and given them a lot of direction. Throughout the degree, there's obviously ups and downs, and if you can have some kind of positive goal that you're working towards, it can make things a lot easier. In terms of observing the industry, it's great to just get out there, again, similar to networking and talking to people in the industry, seeing what other people are doing, seeing what might interest you and seeing the gaps in the market. So we had a really interesting interview with a graduate from the complementary medicine degree, and he was talking about he started his own business once he had graduated, and he saw a gap in the market for people finding practitioners. So essentially he set up this business where he guided individuals to create a health team. And that's working really well for him. And that's a gap that he saw and he filled. So having those conversations is just key to kind of creating a bit of a vision for yourself.
We've already touched on, as part of the networking, about identifying, when I said identify 10 clinics. So it's really good to be on top of knowing what jobs are available within your industry, within your location, within your state, within your sector. So the best way to do that is to keep up to date with Endeavour's jobs board. So that's available on Endeavour's careers site. If you're a new student, I would recommend to use just a normal Excel spreadsheet, go into the jobs board once a month and just see what employers are advertising for jobs. It could be industry, it could be some of their main players like bioceuticals, Metagenics, etc. Or it could be clinics identifying, oh, we're looking for a naturopath, a nutritionist, a myotherapist, an acupuncturist, etc. And then there's also other jobs that are available. There's health writers, different jobs from at different times of the year just pop up. So if you're not in that moment where you can actually become employed as a practitioner, write their details down so you know when you actually do become, like 6 months or a year before you graduate, when you're actually connecting with clinics to say, I've got 1 year to go, I'm studying nutrition, I'd really love to work for your practice. Do you think there would be an opportunity for me or for a nutritionist in a year's time? And they might come back and say yes, no, maybe, and depending what they do, you would enter that in the spreadsheet. But because you already know they've advertised on the jobs board, you know they're already aware of us, you know they're already most likely aware of the degree and the top quality of student that comes from Endeavour. And then sometimes if there's not job opportunities, if we go back to the example when I said we'll identify 10 clinics, it's just a matter of cold calling. Whether you ring them up, drop your resume in with a cover letter, but then always follow that up to, can I catch up with you? I drop my resume in. Would I be able to catch up and just talk about what possible job opportunities are available in the future? So yeah, and there are other volunteer opportunities. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that, Sophie.
Absolutely, yes. So while you're a student, there's lots of volunteer opportunities as well, and that obviously adds to your resume, but also your experience as a practitioner. There are volunteer opportunities within Australia, but there's also opportunities like through IVI, which is a volunteer company in the Pacific, in India. So that might be an option for you as well.
Yeah, and again, it exposes you to different situations and different people. So there's always a networking opportunity, I find, in most things that we do as part of our options. So
exactly. There's a lot of stories of, oh, I started as a volunteer and then picked up work in that organization as well. So talking about mentorship, mentoring can come in lots of different forms. So it can just be a phone call with a clinician who can give you some advice, or it can be observation in their clinic, and it can be business tips. And throughout different stages of your career, you might need a different mentor. So for example, for business or for marketing or for tax or for case studies. And as a student as well, a mentor can really give you motivation, direction and confidence as a practitioner. And it's not always easy finding a mentor, just like finding an employer. It might be about asking a few different people, and some people won't be in a position to be a mentor. That's okay. That has to be respected. But it's about communicating openly about what you're looking for as well, and having them come back with, oh, yep, I can definitely fit in here and here. So it's important to also consider that as you're a student in a mentorship role, there are things that you can't do due to insurance. So come and chat to us if you have any questions about that.
And what I find with the mentoring is there are so many people within our industry that do want to assist, that are graduates that have been either have established themselves but definitely want to give back. And we hear about that all the time. But just like a job application, don't be upset if you approach someone to be a mentor and they say no, or they say, oh yes, I can do it, but it will cost this amount of money. If you're a student or just a new graduate, obviously money is key. You need to be very careful with your money. So you just need to think if that's the best decision for you to make. If it is, great. If not, there are other opportunities for you to find mentoring that are unpaid, but you just need to keep searching and trying to connect with the right person. And hopefully you can do that while you're a student. No surprise, once you finish studying, you're going to keep learning. So, well, you need to keep your membership with the professional associations with your CPD points. We know that. But to become the best in your field, and if you want to focus on an area, there will be further study options or professional development that you will need to undertake. They're not always degrees that you need to do, but again, you just need to be, by doing a professional development, by undertaking professional development in a certain area, again, you'll be surrounded by peers that are focusing on one area, you're growing your network in that, and then you can actually launch yourself into, depending where you're working, and actually be acknowledged as an expert in a certain field. So to do that, you just need to, it can take time. Like, there is always a lot of discussion about when I graduate, should I have a niche, should I not have a niche? And I've found a lot of different graduates split that, and Sophie might have a different idea. So I'm not sure on the right answer for that, but what I do know, if you do have a niche, you'll still see everybody anyway. So if that's the case, maybe it is, but I mean, I really can't answer it because I'm split 50-50 with the advice I'm constantly hearing from people about should you graduate with a niche. For me, it comes back to what your goal is. If you want to really focus on a certain area, it makes sense to actually, right from the start, be focusing on that, but be open to seeing everybody because that's what you're skilled in at that time.
And sometimes it's not really about finding the niche yourself, but sometimes those clientele find you. So you'll see a few gut patients and do a really good job, and the word will spread and you'll end up seeing a lot of gut patients. So sometimes it happens that way as well.
Absolutely. Most importantly, we want to stay connected with you. So with the webinar program, we try to develop the topics on there from the feedback we get from our students and graduates about what topics they want. So if as a graduate you feel that you need more support or more information on a certain area, it's just a matter of letting us know, because Sophie and I have got no problems in actually connecting with a set presenter that you want to hear from who's an expert in a certain area, or you want to hear about a certain topic, or you want more information about how to market your business, or whatever it is. We just need to know, and we'll find the person to deliver that to you. We've also just launched our alumni Facebook page. So Sophie, did you want to talk us about that as well?
Yeah, so you can find that if you're a final year student, you're more than welcome to join, or a graduate, obviously. And you can find it under Endeavour College of Natural Health Alumni. It's a closed group, and it's all about sharing successes, career tips, business advice. It's not a place for case studies because there's lots of other groups for that. So it's mainly around careers. But it's a great place to connect, and also a really good place to network.
Definitely. Moving on to the next one. So as part of the presentation tonight, we do want to just go through different career opportunities that are available. So some of these would no doubt look familiar. So depending on the practitioner is the first one there that you see. Now that's something that we're all aware of. So 4 of our degrees are practitioner degrees. So that's one area. The others are open to, so the entrepreneur, we've got many of our graduates actually have gone into the entrepreneur space, launching different products. So if that's something you're interested in, I would try and connect with a previous graduate of ours to see what they did to launch a product into market, how do they do it, how do they get suppliers, etc. So if that is something that you're interested in, definitely we have had successful graduates go down that track. If you're to focus on a business, again, I'm based in Brisbane, so I talk about Metagenics, not because I'm pro Metagenics against any other company, it's just a matter of because I've been in contact with them more because of my location. But out at Metagenics and other similar employers, they have got Endeavour graduates working on their regulatory affairs, their tech support. So tech support is when they're answering phone calls from clinicians who've seen a client, had a few questions about what product would best assist their client with their illness or what they're looking to treat them for. The tech support from the research that they've got from their studies at Endeavour, but also from the company research, would give advice about the best products or best way to assist that client. So that's a tech support line. Practitioner educators, which I touched on very earlier this evening, they're actually going out, and some people might label them as sales. So I guess that is some part of it because they would be having product from the company, talking to clinics, etc. But what they're also doing is updating, doing presentations about the latest research that they've done within the company, that just to inform practitioners, but also if there's products already in the market, with further research they can say, well, these products you've been using them for this, well now they're actually able to assist with these conditions as well. So not just sales, and again, sometimes you have to look at, if you want to get into a company, sometimes there's you're not able to always get in, and this is not just natural health industry, all industries. Sometimes you need to come in at a level that it's not where you want to be, but it gets you in the door to start that process, I guess. And then there's health researcher and quality control. So the health researcher I find is a bit varied. Health researcher within an industry, research like reviews, articles, etc., literature. But then you've also got your research career path, such as studying your honours, which moves you into your PhDs, etc. So if you are interested in studying your honours when you graduate, please contact the Office of Research and they'll talk you through the different job opportunities and what you need to do to progress that. There's a few others there: community health specialist, tech writer, blogger, author and cookbook creator, and then a freelancer. A freelancer is, I know some of our CompMed students are having success with that, just assisting, but all students in general, assisting existing people working in the natural health space, whether that's companies or clinics, about creating content, really. So whether it's, say, for instance, a clinic updating their blog, who's the people creating the content for their blog? So, I mean, that's just a very general example, but there's different content creation that's needed in all different aspects of our industry. So it's about connecting with people and identifying, as Sophie said, what gaps exist, and if you can fill those gaps, being a content creator for somebody is definitely one of those. This is just a quick example of the different, if you are going down the practitioner pathway, what the trend we're currently seeing, while a lot of people are saying they want to work solo, the trend I'm seeing is that students are generally going to a multimodality clinic initially that provides them with peer support, but also gets them up. There's existing marketing potentially, or there's cross referrals with the idea of learning how a business runs as well, or how it doesn't run sometimes. That's what they see. And then with the idea of scaling down their involvement with the clinic to then start branching out into their own solo business gradually, rather than just starting it from the get-go. If that is something you are interested in, that is something that graduates have had great success. I guess for myself, I'd be cautious if you haven't got a business background, because that's what it is. You're running a business. While as a graduate, you're going to have these great skills where you actually want to be out helping people with their wellness or whatever goal that you've decided for yourself. You're going to be sucked away from that and actually running your business, doing your marketing, paying your bills, marketing, etc. You're not going to be spending all your time just working as a practitioner. Whereas in a multimodality clinic, while you're still going to have to do your marketing, etc., you can focus more potentially on actually being a practitioner. And there are some other options. And we held a corporate wellness webinar last week. So if you want to know more about that, I'd get onto the Career Service website and check out the video from last week. Okay.
Great. So here is the Careers Service website, which you've previously seen that we showed you. If you're wanting to connect with the Careers Advisor team after this, if there's anything we can help you with, feel free to email us and we can book a time that would be appropriate. We can do phone, Skype, or in person if you're in Melbourne or Brisbane. Or you can book via the LMS as well. And it can be really helpful for us if you complete the careers planner beforehand. It just can give us a bit more direction when we actually meet with you.
Definitely. And Amanda, we've got your query. I think it's best with that query for us to connect with you offline, like take it away from this, just because it's a bigger discussion than just going on here. So you can just respond there. Are you available for us to connect with you tomorrow or on Friday? And yeah, we look forward to discussing that with you further. But from tonight, so ideally it was just about identifying some areas that would assist you transitioning to employment. So this is just to start the ball rolling. Obviously we can talk about a lot of things until you actually get in the position to thinking about what are you going to do and where you're going to take it and what action you need to take. It's not really going to get you to the next step. So I really encourage you to identify some time, block out some time to actually think about your future career path. It's extremely important. You don't want to get to the end of your degree without direction. If that is you on the call tonight and you haven't, that's fine. That does happen. Totally understandable. Please connect with the Career Service and we can start that conversation. From myself, thank you for listening tonight. Again, it's just a quick overview, but yeah, as Sophie said, we're very contactable and we look forward to touching base with you soon and connecting with you to find out how we can assist you achieve your career goals.